Hey, hey, do you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? No, okay, I've already seen Dumb and Dumber. Alright, I get it. Cool shirt. Welcome back, one and all, to another installment in my favorite movies this October for my birthday month. This time we are jumping into the comedy genre, and we are talking about the 1994 comedy classic, Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber is a movie I got into when I was in middle school. I was going through my Jim Carrey kick. It's when I was discovering him and becoming a huge fan of his. And I was checking out the 1994 classic comedy movies that made him the household name that he is today: Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber. Fun fact, all three of those movies ended up getting translated into kid cartoon shows. For some reason. Quality wasn't great. But yeah, Dumb and Dumber, you have Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels playing Lloyd Christmas and Harry Dunn as they go on a road trip to try to deliver a briefcase back to a girl. But as it turns out, the briefcase was filled with money as a ransom payment to get her husband back from some kidnappers, a plot in which Harry and Lloyd inadvertently get caught in the middle of. Like a lot of comedy movies, I don't exactly go to Dumb and Dumber for the plot. Not to say the plot is bad, I do enjoy the story of Dumb and Dumber. As I've grown older, I've realized that Dumb and Dumber is actually a pretty dark comedy. You've got decapitated bird heads, you've got accidental poisonings of killing a man, but you also have Jeff Daniels using a carrot as a snowman's penis. So it's not that dark. And while this is the movie that shot Jim Carrey into the stratosphere with his comedy career, Jeff Daniels needs to get a lot of credit for this movie because he could have easily just jumped on the bandwagon with Jim Carrey, gone all wacky and crazy and silly the same way Jim Carrey did, try to match Jim Carrey's comedic style, but Jeff Daniels, being the smart actor that he is, he decided to play Harry more grounded and a little bit more subtle in his dumbness, and that decision is actually what allows Jeff Daniels to keep up with Jim Carrey throughout this movie. The fact that Harry kind of gets tugged along by Lloyd, lets Lloyd take the lead and drag him where he needs to go, is exactly why Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels work so well in this movie, because you don't feel like they're butting heads, like one's trying to get more stardom, more screen time than the other, or trying to get more laughs than the other person. They come off as genuine friends. This is one of the best friendships in movies ever. It's just one of the best relationships in movies ever. And what really works for the characters of Harry and Lloyd is the fact that they are so innocent in their stupidity. That's something that Dumb and Dumber 2, the sequel that came out in 2014, kind of lost a little bit with the characters. Even though they're now in their late 50s, early 60s in that movie, they act way more juvenile and childish than they do in this movie, and they come across as mean-spirited. Nothing in this movie, in the first Dumb and Dumber, make Harry and Lloyd come across as mean-spirited. I mean, they kill a man, but they didn't mean to. It's not like they lit him on fire with fireworks. As I said, I don't exactly go to Dumb and Dumber for the plot. I go there for the comedy. And this movie's almost 27 years old. It might be 27 years old now. Almost 3 decades later. And I think that this comedy hits just as well as I'm sure it did in 1994. There's just so many quotable lines in Dumb and Dumber. And while Dumb and Dumber does have some very elaborate gags, as much fun as it is to watch Jeff Daniels on that toilet making all of those goofy faces and expressions as he's crapping his guts out. That was really gross. I'm sorry for that image. Most of the stuff that makes me laugh in Dumb and Dumber is the more subtle comments and subtle humor that Lloyd and Harry just exclaim throughout the entire movie. Big gulps, huh? Alright. Well, see you later. We got no food, we got no jobs, our pets' heads are falling off! What happened, Harry? Some little filly break your heart? No, it was a girl. I'm sure comedies can be very stressful to work on because for the vast majority, you are just relying on the cast and crew working on the production with you to determine whether this is funny or not. You don't know how it's going to play exactly in front of a full audience once the movie is edited and put out. And there's a lot of gambles that I think Dumb and Dumber took with its comedy. If I had to give a gripe to Dumb and Dumber, which isn't really a gripe, I would say that the third act is kind of the weakest part for me. I don't even really know if I can say that it's the weakest part of the movie. It's just the part of the movie that whenever we get to Aspen, whenever the road trip stuff is over, whenever we get to that part of the movie, I always lose just a little bit more interest than I had before. The real enjoyment of this movie for me is that bulk second act, pretty much the middle of the film, where they are on the road trip to get to Aspen. When we're in the dog-shaped van with Lloyd and Harry, just going on the road with these two, that's when I have the most fun with Dumb and Dumber. Not to say that the third act doesn't give some great laughs. I mean, who doesn't crack up at those tuxedos? Jim Carrey said it best when he said that Dumb and Dumber was lightning in a bottle. For a comedy that's nearly 30 years old, it holds up tremendously well, and I cannot see it getting dated anytime soon. I've laughed harder with this movie than the vast majority of comedies I've seen throughout my lifetime. If I ever need to pick me up and I'm looking for a comedy movie to do so, this is the one that I put on all the time. It's one of my favorite, if not my favorite comedy movies of all time. If you haven't seen Dumb and Dumber yet, and you're looking for a good laugh, I definitely recommend checking it out. As for you who have already seen it, what do you think of Dumb and Dumber? Comment down below, let me know. I want to know all your thoughts and opinions about this movie. Guys, I thank you again for joining me for another one of my favorite movie reviews that I'm doing throughout this October. Join me again next week as I will have another one of my favorite movie reviews up on the channel. So if you like talking movies, TV, and all things entertainment, why don't you go on and click that subscribe button, click that like button, click that notification bell, all that YouTube stuff. And I hope to talk to you guys again real soon.